guys, you get so much flack for getting involved in issues. People are so dismissive, whereas if you're a Republican, if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger or you're Chuck Norris.
Well, I mean, do you really want to be standing with?
They get a different kind of flack, it seems to me.
Well, there's not that many of them, so they get to like join together, you know?
They are a rare breed.
It's true.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is Chuck Norris a member of America's Senate or Congress now?
No.
Soon.
No, but I mean, this is a serious question. The way you talked about him, is he a governor of somewhere now?
No. He isn't actually, but he's a big.
That would be incredible.
He's a big supporter.
Delta governor.
He's a big supporter of Huckabee, one of the Republican candidates, and he's.
Always there. Yeah,
he's always at his side.
Quite.
Raises the question of why, when someone like Governor Schwarzenegger or Chuck Norris gets involved in politics, Republicans are fine with that, but when you guys get involved, you're Hollywood liberals who are out of touch with the rest of the country.
But that's always been that. I mean, that's not something new. I mean, if you whatever, if you're railing against, I mean, think about all the protest films in the 60s and 70s that were against the Vietnam War, against Watergate, or against Nixon, or everything. The drug counterculture, all those things. All of that sort of posed this idea that, oh, well, anything that's against the establishment is bad. And, there was a very good way of sort of making the word liberal a bad word, which I don't quite understand, because you're saying, well, we're actually looking out to give about people. But I don't think that that's anything new. I think that's always been the case. I don't think it's a particular, it has spikes, where you can call people traitors and stuff. We went through that a couple times. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's new.
Going into this year, I mean, this is obviously a big year in America for politics. Do you have hesitations about speaking out? And I mean, this was, I know you talked about this in 2004, that Kerry asked you to participate, and you said, I'm not going to help. I can't help you.
My father was running for Congress that year, and, Michael Moore, and I liked Michael a lot, and he did a lot, but, that speech that he gave at the Oscars was polarizing. Now, it's fair enough. It's a fair deal, but I always find that it's best to try not to raise the rhetoric at that point. It certainly became Hollywood against the heartland. That's literally, I had a picture of my dad who's done nothing but wear a three-piece suit his entire life, like with long hair and glasses, smoking a doobie. And I'm like, my dad's like, hi, how are you? I'm an anchor man, nice to meet you. So, part of it is that, I've been a big supporter of, Barack Obama since his Senate run, and I'm a friend of his. And I said, I stay completely out of it. I don't show up at those things. And they, believe me, not he, but his group will say, come on, help us out. It'll help bring attention. And you go, it's not the attention you want. Mm-hmm. I worry about that a lot, because you don't want to do harm,
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask a little bit about the political films that are overtly political and those that have subtext of politics in them, because this was a year when one of the major storylines was all of these movies about Iraq and about the war and about the Bush presidency. And it was tough to get people to see those movies. But there were also a lot of movies, including a couple that are represented by some of the people on the stage, that were not really about those things, but were about those things, regardless. And I think Michael Clayton is a good example of that, where I feel like Michael Clayton is a very political movie, even though it's not overtly about politics. And I'm wondering if that, for whatever reason, connects with audiences easier, because it's not so on the nose, and maybe we don't have the...
I think you have to always do glancing blows in these, unless you're doing All the President's Men, which is, a perfect film because we know how it ends, and you're still chewing your fingernails off the whole way through it. So, but unless you're doing something sort of specifically, directly about a sort of political event, I think in general you have to do more glancing blows. We tried that with Good Night, Good Luck. We didn't want to go, let's go at the idea that the press is dropping its job with asking questions. Let's pose it when the last time that happened, when you go sort of straight at it, unless there's a great storyline and characters. I think that was the problem with some of the films that you're talking about with the Iraq films, was not that they're bad films, none of that stuff. There's a danger when you try to be too strident in storytelling, where you go, this is how you should think, and this, people don't want to be told what to think. You should just say, well, here's something boxed inside a really interesting group of characters in a genre film of some sort. I think you get in trouble when you go, this is what you guys should think, and you really frame it that way. And I think that people get turned off by that.
I feel like when I watch A Mighty Heart, the politics of A Mighty Heart are in that dining room, where there's all of these people around the table who are working together, and there's a commentary in that. Is that something you feel like when you're working on that movie?
Yeah, we were very conscious of it. It's something that Marianne pointed out and made a point of in her book, and is very much who she is, and what that family represents today. They all continue to work towards dialogue and the actors at the table. It was a nice balance, because during this time when our country's at war and there's so much happening, to be in India and Pakistan with Indian and Pakistani actors who usually also don't work together and don't cross each other's border, to have them asking us questions about politics, to actually have open discussions about 9/11, about Muslim culture, American culture, sharing food, sharing ideas, writing each other's kids' names down, did something for us. And just to respect each other as artists. You know, it shouldn't have been shocking for me, but it was really exciting to say, God, that Pakistani actor, that Indian actor is one of the best actors I've ever worked with. And I don't often think of actors beyond, you know, the list we're all used to. And I think that is very symbolic of what the piece represented in the end, yes.
Daniel, do you think about the politics of? I mean, I think there's a lot of politics and there will be blood, but do you think about those things, or are you focusing on
I can
what
afford
you're
to now. No, I didn't think about them at all when we were doing it. No, not at all. No, I just figured it would take care of itself.
It's just the most profound. It's just amazing, your process. You're just so brilliant. I think we all, you know, look to you as this mad genius who really understands. Right? Like, he must have the most difficult time because of the work that comes out of it. So to hear it sound, it's insane.
I'm telling you, it makes you, listen, all actors, let's like get it out now. All actors like bow to this. And it makes us crazy, when he goes, yeah, and then I went and I was a cobbler for a year, and they choose me like, you made shoes for a year. And you are absolutely, you kill it for the rest of us. We're going to take care of you, pal.
Thank you, Jules.
Yeah. Whatever.